you for your this opportunity, Jasmine. Thank you for the Student Association for making this available to students. This is an excellent service to students in order for you to make an informed decision of what you will make out of your university experience. I am aware that there have been other sessions conducted by other departments within the Faculty of Economics, Management and Accountancy to brief you and inform you about what we have to offer for postgraduate level. This is a faculty which is diversified in its nature, having specialized departments, and therefore the result of all this is that you students are presented with a number of different opportunities to specialize your skills and knowledge after your first degree. You are spoiled for choice with us. Well, what we have to offer? First of all, as a Department of Public Policy, we are here to share our experiences about what policy is. What is public policy? Essentially, public policy is government action or inaction to deal with different economic and social challenges. Through its action, through its policies, through its legislation, the government and the institutions of the state are there to register progress, to make the life of the people better. And therefore, we have what we call a diversified array of policy areas. There could be educational policy, health policy, environmental policy, cultural policy, European policy, industrial policy, financial policy. So policy making is an array of different areas which include some which are of a sociological nature, other which are of an economic or a political nature, and together we try to formulate policy with the assistance of different stakeholders, because the formulation of policies are not done only by the government, but by various stakeholders. It is a plethora of different stakeholders. Who is involved in policy making? Oh, how many? Like, for example, civil society organizations, the university itself, the social partners like trade unions and employers associations, local councils, private industry, the individual citizen. And that is why in policy making, we study consultation exercises, we study stakeholders analysis in order to incorporate as much as possible the different perspectives in society, which are not only different, but also sometimes conflictual. Like, for example, should we or should we not introduce abortion or euthanasia or cannabis for leisure? Should we introduce new legislation in terms of gender quotas, like we have had in Parliament a few months ago? So all this is part of public policy. However, for your postgraduate degree, we are teaming up with the Department of Management in order to offer a joint degree in public policy and strategic management. Are you seeing this? Just
Yes.
Chiarawa?
Yes, Eva.
So let's see. Michaela, Beppe, Jake, Dave, Jeremy, whoever is there, please do stop me if you want to ask a question. I don't want to leave the questions to the very last. Those of you who know me, you know that I adopt an interactive session. Public policy is all about debate. It's all about questions and answers and different opinions. So please free to talk to me as I am delivering my presentation, whatever you like. Hope it's clear. So, what is public policy? Before we delve into the degree itself, public policy and strategic management. What is public policy? Public policy is all about agenda setting. Setting the agenda for new legislation, setting the agenda for new government strategies, setting the agenda for economic development, setting the agenda for social well-being, to enrich, to make better the standard of living and the quality of life of the people. Once you formulate your agenda, which is rejuvenated, which is edited every now and then, you would need to formulate policies to come up with different alternative solutions to address key problems. Like, for example, policy formulation in the case of revamping the economy, revamping the tourist economy, not after the pandemic, but in the context of a pandemic, because the pandemic is still with us. This is public policy. How we are going to ascertain public health. At the same time, how you are going to guarantee that people do not lose their jobs. Economic policy. Policy formation. What alternatives? What policy options do you have? But as we know from economics, needs are unlimited, but resources are limited. And therefore, of all those policy options that we develop, we have to make a decision. We have to undergo decision making to consider the different of options, policy options, that is different government intervention in terms of society, culture, economics, politics, and make a final call on a selected course of action. Should we or should we not build the bridge between the two islets, Malta and Gozo? Has there been a cost-benefit analysis? Has there been a geo-strategic study? Once you decide, you have to implement. And here comes good governance, establishing accountability. Because this is public policy, public means that you are working with public funds. Public funds are people's money, not shareholders' money. In the private sector, management is accountable to the board of directors and to the shareholders. In the public sector, managers are accountable to the government, who is the representative of the people. So you also need to have proper project management skills, and that is why we combine strategic management with public policy, because strategic management is important. If you have the right skills of strategic management, they are important to ascertain that each and every stage within the cycle of public policy is made to the utmost effective and efficient degrees in terms of resource utilization. And also evaluation, because evaluation brings you face to face of what have I done? What was done as a what can be established as a best practice approach. What can we do in order to ameliorate next time? And the ball sets rolling for another agenda set. So in public policy, we have to use scientific evidence. That is, you have to do the scientific research, both quantitative and qualitative, by triangulating the results. In order to have hard evidence, there has to be the political will, because here we are talking about the institutions of the state. It's all about the government, parliament, the judiciary, because there is the separation of power, and then the mechanism to make government work, which is public administration. But it also includes social infrastructure. After all, doing policy is all about intervening in society, dealing with people, dealing with communities, dealing with minorities as much as we do deal with majorities. So the human element, the scientific element, and also the political element. These are the three essentials of public policy, which when combined with strategic management, then the student, when going to knock on the door of either the private or the public sector or the civil society sector, I will have a portfolio of skills and talent which bridge the gap between policy formulation and strategic management. And through strategic management, you would be able to assess and organize the project or the strategy, to make an assessment of the internal and external factors that will either help or hinder the project. You will have ability to kickstart the formulation of strategy, then to plan it, execute it, and also establish measurements to measure performance, to measure impact, to learn from what you have done. So there is synergy. They are not the same, but there is surely synergy between public management and between public policy and strategic management, which they all are interested in planning, in the execution of projects, and in monitoring and developing progress. Do you have any questions at this stage? Because now we will tackle what this program is all about. But first, I have to give you an overview of what is public policy and public management. You can talk in English or in Portuguese, whatever you feel free. Feel free. Okay. If any one of you wish to speak, please do so at any time. So this master's is a taught program, not a research program. So you have to attend lectures. So I don't know whether they will be totally online or totally in class or a hybrid system. We still do not know how we are going to organize this thing, because the COVID situation is still evolving day by day. Today I am informed that more than 50 were earmarked as infected, and we still have to devise this strategy. But for sure, it is a taught program, because there are other master's programs which are done by research. You don't attend any lecture, but it's done by research. But the dissertation word limit would be much more extensive. So this is a master's taught program, a day program. So courses study units are held between 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and they bridge the gap between management and policy-oriented subjects. It provides you with a rigorous preparation in the management and policy science. And this is the way forward, not only for the university, but also for the students. The way forward is transdisciplinarity. Transdisciplinarity. It's actually what the faculty of FEMA is all about. As I was speaking to Yasmin before, if you could have opted to do an ACCA course for accountancy, all you would learn is just accounts. But this is not the university of tomorrow. The university of today and tomorrow is a transdisciplinary university where students will be equipped with a versatile array of skills and knowledge. And that is why you have two specializations within FEMA, both at undergraduate level, and now we have introduced it also at postgraduate level. And in a small country like ours, transdisciplinary renders a professional, but most important, a flexible workforce, because you can work in different environments. You will be equipped with different skills to work in different environments, working environments, and be able to assume rewarding careers, both in the public and in the private sector. So it will equip this course, equip students for the early rungs of a career ladder in commercial enterprises, public organizations, and non-governmental organizations. But that is not all, because these enterprises and organizations can be at the different levels of governance. So public policy and strategic management, you can find work within a local council at local government level. You can still find work at national governance level, where there is the business community and the and different stakeholders at play, but also at the supranational level, at the European level, at the United Nations level, if you like. So the list of opportunities is immense. What the course is all about? The course is designed to provide students with a solid academic and empirical skills portfolio. And this is very important combination. Why do we study theory? What is theory? Theory is an attempt by the people to explain the chaos around them. So the reality of life, the empirical side of life, is full of activities. And these activities seem to be haphazard, seems to have no logic behind them. In theory, we try to distance ourselves from what is happening on the ground, study it from a distance, and try to map out the different variables and the different forces at play. And we come up with a theory to try to explain what is happening around us. That's what we do, for example, when we do SWOT analysis. From the chaos around us, we try to identify what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities and the threats that influence this or that issue. So in this course, we travel inductively and deductively, theoretically and empirically, to bridge the gap between reality and conceptual frameworks. This is what we do. And within that, through this portfolio, our students pursue rewarding careers as managers and leaders, particularly in the fields of strategy design and policy analysis. The course adopts an interactive approach, surely not like this one I am delivering right now, because particularly in public policy subjects, it's all about debating, it's all about having different positions, it's all about trying to influence and lobby. This is public policy. And in order to equip with your portfolio with these skills of influencing, of persuasion, of communication, of negotiation, of compromise building, this is all about public policy, reaching some sort of consensus of what government intervention is most appropriate in this area. We have to adopt a very interactive approach in class. Okay, we make use of role plays, we make use of debating time, we make use of focus groups, we make use of individual and group work. It's very interactive and calling for different styles of learning, including communal learning, including interactive learning. The learning experience encompasses a diversity of working environments, including public and private sectors, both locally and overseas. Because experience showed us that our students are either newly undergraduate students who immediately opt for a postgraduate degree and they come study with us, or else they are much more mature students who already have their place of work. They can be Maltese as well as foreigners who decide at a later stage to augment their qualification by embarking on an M.Sc program. Students are given the opportunity to apply the values and mechanisms of good governance. We have heard a lot of these of good governance in these last years. Good governance is all about accountability, transparency, efficiency, effectiveness. It's about participation. It's about setting a vision. It's about the rule of law. These are all things that you will be focusing on. You will understand institutional design, very important. How do institutions work? How do accountability channels form? How is the separation of power treated? What are the checks and balances in order to improve the processes and effectiveness? What auditing measures needs to be there in order to preclude corruption, money laundering? This is all about public policy and strategic management. You engage in strategy building to enhance decision-making performance metrics. In order to build up a strategy, you would need to have cutting-edge competencies in how to make an informed decision, and also develop those metrics that measure performance, from which you would know the effectiveness and efficiency of resource utilization. And therefore, having gained all this knowledge, you will surely deepen and widen your leadership skills platform, your own leadership skills platform, by developing critical thinking and innovation potential to organize and address organizational and challenges. Now, something which is much more from a logistical point of view. The duration of the course is 16 months. It used to be 12 months, but now it is 16 months. So you have the full semester 1 and semester 2 taught program plus the summer months in order to complete your dissertation. Starting date is of this October. Frequency of lectures on average twice a week. So you will have twice a week attending lectures, late mornings, afternoon, or evenings, and it combines public policy and management to provide a holistic yet distinct specialization and a dissertation of around 15,000 words. Themes of public policy I already mentioned. Themes of strategic management I already mentioned. So M.Sc in public policy and strategic management can brighten the intellectual development and career paths of various professionals. So what can you do with such an M.Sc? What kind of workplaces can you aspire for? So this is for public officers and analysts, policy analysts, for business executives, HR managers, for regulatory managers and compliance managers, and for executives engaged in European and transnational agencies, because I have said we believe in multi-level governance, as well as leaders of trade unions and employers associations, and also as leaders of civil society organizations. This is a very lucrative and wide-span opportunity for students to work in different environments. Admission requirements: students who have majored in public policy and another major, management and another major, so you don't have to be a graduate of public policy at undergraduate to start this course. Students who have a major in public administration or equivalent or relevant degree. We have had, for example, students coming from European studies or psychology studies or diplomatic studies. These are all students whose undergraduate specializations are deemed appropriate for this M.Sc. One last word. The M.Sc in public policy and strategic management is not the only master's degree offered by the Department of Public Policy. In fact, as a Department of Public Policy, we have other two master's programs. First, we have the MBA, Public Management, the Master's in Public Administration, specializing in public management. It is an executive program, part-time evening course. So courses starts from 5 in the afternoon onwards. It is 2 years, starting October 2021. Then there is another academic program, which is the MA, Public Policy Leadership. Now here the emphasis is on policy formulation. From here, your strength would not be strategic management, but policy writing, but policy leading policy. This is an academic program. It is a part-time evening course, and since it is a part-time evening course, it is spread over 3 years, and it opens year in, year out. So our next opening is October 2022. It consists of 2 years taught program, 2 years full of lectures, and 1 year dedicated to the dissertation. That is all. I am happy to listen to what you have to say and answer to your questions in the best way possible. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake. Hope it was beneficial to you. And feel free to take the decision best for you. Thank you.
Sir, if I wanted to look for the study unit, sort of what's a bit more detail, would I be able to find that anywhere of the
Yes,
first one?
sure. And just type in M.Sc Public Management and Public Policy and Strategic Management through the university portal and choose on the program. And there you will have all the program, all the study units. You click on each and every study unit and the description and the aims and the type of assessment for each study unit will pop up.
Thank you.
It's all online. Yes, man, I think that dak li kelli nagħmel għamil.
Sorry?
Dak li kelli nagħmel għamil. Naħseb illi
I think so. Perhaps if they have any further questions further on, they can maybe forward them to you or...
yes, for
Okay,
sure.
thank you.
Yasmin, are you in a position to disseminate my presentation?
Sorry?
Are you in a position to circulate the presentation?
Yes,
Should I what do you call it? Should I send it to you by email and then you circulate it?
yes, I obviously can do that.
So as soon as we finish off, I will send it by email.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, Yasmin, and your team.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, students, for being with us. Thank you. We wish you all the very best, but best of all, it's not the course. Best of all, stay safe. You and your loved ones.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Vassallo. So thank you everyone for joining. Today, for this session, we'll be having the explanation with respect to the banking and finance honors and also master's talk. This presentation will be presented by Professor Joseph Falson, who is the coordinator for the course. I will leave some minutes for Professor Joseph Falson to be able to join.
Okay, so we can start.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. But I am only seeing you. I cannot see the students. The camera is off.
Yes, I think so. Because I'm currently...
So there are only 3 students then?
Yes.
Okay.
Myself and 3 other students.
Okay, can we start?
Yes, you may do so.
Okay, but the
Resume.
other students, can they switch the camera on at least so I know whom I'm talking to?
I think they have the capability to do so. Yes, they do. I think that they may have some difficulties to switch it on.
Okay, let's start then. Let's start because it's not
Okay.
going to be late. Okay, so basically our banking and finance program is scheduled. Basically, second year we have foundation courses, and then third year they build on second year, and then the fourth year honors. It's a sort of the peak of the degree. They are very good courses, very good courses. We have even in the third year we have compulsory units, and we have introduced many electives, so students can choose electives. We cannot take all the units because we have too many, but you have the core which are compulsory, but then you have other electives. So it's very interesting. The honors is a very good year, and it has built a good reputation in the industry, financial industry. And our graduates, of course, over the years, I mean, we have been now 30 years since we started the program in 92. Our program is very well respected and has a very good reputation in the industry. Very good reputation in the industry. Um, and our graduates, for example, Marian Shikluna was one of our graduates. She was the Director General of MFSA. We have Charles Borch, who was the CEO of Bank of Valletta. All right, so these were some of our students. Now, many of our students are managers in Bank of Valletta, also Central Bank, MFSA. There are many of our students at MFSA. So, and many hedge funds that came to Malta, many funds that came to Malta. Um, so our students find very good jobs. Okay, so our honors, we're going to keep our honors as it is next year. It's a very good honors year, and it's a very good strong honors. So it's very strong. With it, you can continue to do a master's in Malta in our department, or you can go to UK or some other country. We had several students also over the years who had a good because they have a good foundation. They went to the United Kingdom and did a very good masters in finance there. So it's a very good honors. Regarding our masters, we did it part-time. We started our masters in 92. We do it every 2 years, 94, 96, 98. Last year we had some disruption because of the virus. But this year we're trying to open it again. We have foreign professors, some very good foreign professors coming from abroad doing the courses. We have also some local lecturers, but it's a very good, strong masters with foreign professors. They come here for 1 week and another week. And with our masters today, in fact, we had the viva for the students' dissertations. It's a very good masters, which is also similar to the CFA. There's the Chartered Financial Analyst. With our honors, you can do the CFA. It's a sort of a industry-wide industry-wide certificate. It's very strong certificate. It's equivalent to a master's degree, and you do it in three parts: part one, part two, part three. The CFA. So with our honors, you can do that. Actually, part one would be covered with our honors, and you have about 20% of part two. With our masters, you have most of the material done, so you can also do the CFA later. So this is our program. With our masters, students find very good jobs in industry. I know two in particular. They started with 60,000 euros after our masters with a local hedge fund. With our honors, students have also good jobs, starting 20, 22, 25,000 per year. Uh, Okay, so if you have any questions, so this is what we have. You can assess, you can look at the courses on our department website. So second year, third year, and honors, and also the masters. The masters program is also on our website. So if you have any questions, I can discuss them.
If I may ask, with respect to progression, would it be, for example, possible stop at the third year third year of studies, and maybe you decide to follow a master's program in another major, right? However,
Yeah.
then you would wish to further your studies in banking and finance.
Yeah, you can get to the honors. Our honors is the real sort of.
Okay, so
Our honors is the our other departments. They try to change the honors into masters. We decided to keep it. It's a very strong honors. We cannot call our honors a masters. It's not a masters level. Our masters is the real masters level. So we try to keep the honors. It has really strong honors. As I said, if you go abroad, you have a very good foundation. You're going to also have a very good foundation to do the CFA. And this has a very good reputation in the industry. All right. So if you want to do specialization in bank and finance, you should do the honors. Basically, that's our industry standard now, which we have developed for the last 30 years.
So even if you decide after your third year to first do for example, a master's in accountancy, and then you decide to
Yeah, you can come back. You can come back to do the honors.
Okay.
No problem. Yeah,
Okay.
no problem. No problem. You can come back and continue. No problem.
Okay. That was my question. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, do you have other questions? And we have many students, second year, third year, and fourth year. We used to have about 70, 75 students. They all find very good jobs. It's a growing sector. Financial services, financial sector has been a growing sector these last 30 years. And our students helped grow the industry, right? Without our students, we would not have had such a big success in the financial industry sector in Malta.
If I
Yes, yes, tell me, yes, ma'am.
If we may have any further questions, maybe later on.
Yeah, you can send an email,
Okay.
send me an email and or call me and I can answer you, or send me email, I will answer you. No problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, okay then. So if you don't have any questions, have a good summer.
Thank you.
All right, and if you ever need anything, just approach us.
Thank you for your time.
No problem, no problem. Thank you, thank you.
So good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining us. For this session, we'll be having a presentation by Dr. Maria Avellino with respect to the master's program for management and tourism studies. And if you have any questions, you may either unmute yourselves and ask directly, or maybe you can use even the chat box, and we will be able to address those questions accordingly.
Okay. Thank you, Yasmin. Thanks very much. What I have planned So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Maria Bellino from the Institute of Tourism, Travel and Culture. And my idea for this session is that I will give an overview of the programs that we are offering at master's level. If you wish, as Yasmin has invited you to put up your questions on chat, please do so. But at the end, even if they're not on chat, then I'll sort of open the floor to Q&As. Okay, so first I'll cover all the basics and then we'll have a question and answer session. So I'll be sharing my screen. Right, so I'm the director of the Institute for Tourism, Travel and Culture within University of Malta. The Institute for Tourism, Travel and Culture started off as being part of FEMA. Today, you are being invited to the seminar through FEMA, which is the Faculty of Economics, Management and Accountancy. And we are neighbors, we work very closely with FEMA. And as a result of this, we are cooperating on two master's programs. So one of them is the Master of Science in Strategic Management and Tourism. And the second one is the Executive Master of Business Administration in Hospitality and Event Management. So I'll start off with the first one, Master of Science, so M.Sc, Strategic Management and Tourism. Now, this program might be different to the other ones that you are hearing about, in that this is a 3-semester program. That means it will be delivered over the course of 1 year. It is full-time. Full-time doesn't mean that you have to come from Monday to Friday to the university for your lectures, but the lectures most of them will be given during the day. That is between 8 and 5 p.m. However, there may be instances when the lectures have to be after 5, especially if your lecturers are from industry. They are not full-time lecturers, so they might have to be delivering their lectures after, let's say, what you would call maybe office hours. However, what we try to do on this program is that we dedicate 1.5 days to group the lectures. This is so that if you are working full-time with an organization and you still would like to attend this lecture or this program, you may be given time off from work to attend it. By right, I mean you shouldn't be working and then also taking a full-time course, because it's going to be very challenging. However, we know that there are places of work where they will allow you to combine your work with also going to lectures on campus. Now, here I'm saying on campus, I'm assuming that we will be returning to normal. Obviously, if that does not happen, we may also be able to deliver the lectures online. But at the moment, the plan is to open up university for face-to-face. As with all master's programs, you have to cover 90 ASCS, so these are transferable credits. And in the first semester, you will have one set of lectures, so starting in October. Then in second semester, which normally starts around February, you will have the second lot. And then in the summer semester, you will work on your thesis. Essentially, the thesis, you will work on it throughout the year. However, then the bulk of data collection and the finalizing of it will probably take place in the summer months, so that you will be ready by September, hopefully you pass, and then you can graduate in November. So this is a question that we are often asked: how much do these courses cost? I'm assuming here that we have local applicants or EU member applicants. In this case, there is no tuition fee, but you need to pay what is known as an annual enrollment fee of 400 euros. So you pay that once, and then you will follow this program. If you are a non-EU applicant, then the total tuition fee for this is 10,800. So you're looking at nearly 11,000. So for the local people, this is a very attractive option. So the fee is very low, as you can see, and within 1 year, especially if you finish your undergrad course, and then you are maybe in between jobs, you're not sure, or you have a job which is not full-time, and so on, this will be ideal for you. Now here I've put down all the requirements that you need for this course, but essentially I'm not going to go through it and read it because you can find it on the website, but essentially you need a first degree. You need a first degree. If it is second upper, even better. If it is not, then we would look at the average mark. That has to be around the 65% in the two proposed areas of study in the degree. So, and then if you don't fit into these, you can always apply, and then we can see what qualifications you have and also what experience you have. And we may be able also to give some weighting to the experience. Normally, we prefer that the experience is post a first degree, but if you don't have that, or don't let it, worry you unduly. This is something that you would want to do. So in that case, if you're not sure that you are going to have the required qualifications, you could apply and for this as a first choice, and then you put in a second choice. In any case, again, if you are unsure, you still have time to come to us so that we can guide you accordingly and see if this is something that you can do. So here is the link, and here you'll be able to see the course program, the fees in more detail. If you have international qualifications, because maybe your first degree isn't from the University of Malta, maybe you read at another institution for your first degree, then again you would need to check this on this website over here to see if you fit in and you are able to present your first degree from another institution. Okay, so continuing on the M.Sc in Strategic Management and Tourism, so you will have the bulk of your topics, study units, that you will read with other students that are taking the M.Sc in Strategic Management. And then you will then have the specialized study units that you will take for tourism. So some students will take Strategic Management and Public Policy, and management, and so on. So everybody will have their own specialization. In that case, then you will form part of a smaller group that will be reading for their tourism study units. Apart from that, then your thesis, your dissertation, has to focus on strategic management, obviously, but based on a tourism background or a tourism oriented subject. So that's program one. Then we come to the second program, and this is the Executive Master of Business Administration in Hospitality and Event Management. Now, this program is what we call part-time. That means it takes place in the evening. At the University of Malta, we tend to use full-time to refer to day courses and part-time to evening. Not everybody is always aware of this, and this is why I'm explaining it. So the lectures will be in the evening after 5, from 5 to 8, or 5:30 to 8:30, because especially if it's a small group and students maybe find it a bit challenging to arrive on campus at 5, then we're able to move it to 5:30 and later, but this is not, what is normally done. So the lectures normally would have to start at around 5. Again, you have 90 ACTSs because it's a master's program, and the duration is for 5 semesters. So essentially, it's over 2 years. And we tend to use the summer semester for the dissertation. So we would start the dissertation before, but then you would finalize it over the summer months. Now, as regards the tuition fees, so for the locals, if you wish to pay per semester, it's 1,500 per semester, and the annual fee would come to 7,500. If it's non-EU, then it's similar to the other program I mentioned earlier, and it's just under 11,000. So we pay half in the first year and half in the second year. I haven't mentioned funding because there normally is funding through what is known as the Get Qualified scheme. However, there has been some revision. This is why I haven't put up the link to the Get Qualified. So you will need to find this out for yourself to see if there is the Get Qualified being offered at the moment. Normally, the Get Qualified funding, you would get around 70% as a credit of income tax credit. So they don't give you the 1,500 every semester, but when you graduate, you will get the money back. Besides this, there are other forms of funding, but you would need to investigate that yourself. Okay, so here are the qualifications that you need to take on the EMBA, whether it's for tourism or whether it's for any of the others. You always need to have here 3 years relevant work experience. So you need your undergrad degree, bachelor degree, 3rd class honors, and if you have work experience, you can also show that. Then you could also apply under the mature students scheme, which is you have to be aged 26 and over. And if maybe you did not have the opportunity to read for a first degree, you could apply with a higher diploma or a diploma from the University of Malta or similar. But obviously you would need to have at least a merit classification. Again, there are sometimes borderline cases, in which case then we would carry out interviews to assess your, not your qualifications, but to see that you will be able to finish off the degree, in time and well, because we don't want to take you on and then you realize maybe this wasn't something that I could actually be doing because I just had a diploma, so we would interview you and see that you are able to continue the course with merit. If you don't have any of these qualifications, then you can also seek admission under what is known as the prep program. So the prep program, you would carry it out 1 year before the MBA. So you join the prep program, you have a number of study units that you would be assigned, and then you will be able to join the MBA. But keep in mind always, this isn't a program that is for people who have just finished their degree. It isn't a degree in the sense, if you are young, you've gone, from college or 6th form and then went to university for your degree, and then you want to continue with your master's, you always would have needed to have the 3 years relevant experience. Why? Because this is a professional degree, and it is very important that you have work experience when you are doing the master's. This is the reason for it. What we tend to focus upon and give a lot of importance is what we call employability and career progression. Many of you that undertake these programs don't do it as a hobby. We do have people who are older and they want to learn more, but normally when if you are younger, especially, or even not so young, people will read for a master's because they want to get on in their career and they want to be employable. Now, in my area is tourism and culture, and although we know what is going on not only in the country but across the world as regards tourism, we also know that there is a phenomenon known as revenge tourism. Revenge tourism is people have been longing to travel for so long that they sort of want to make up for what they missed out. Now, for us working in tourism, that's good, you know. So the work is there. It's just obviously we have to deal with the issues of the pandemic and so on. But the work is there. The work is there now, whether it's in Malta, whether it's abroad. If we didn't have the pandemic, the targets were that we would reach the 2 billion mark, according to the UN WTO. And the higher qualifications you have, the better for your career progression and the more flexible you can be. So it could be at the moment you are not working in tourism, but you would like to work in tourism. So we would prefer if you would have already had an idea, but you decided you want to switch. We've had students who were taking sciences, for example, working in labs, you know, really intelligent people, and they come to us to take on tourism because they told us we don't want to work in a lab. We want to meet people. You know, tourism is a people-oriented, industry. Of course, you could work and not see people. You could work people in the sense tourists. You know, you could work in finance, and you rarely get to see a tourist. Very, very unlikely. But it's still a people-oriented, very much people-oriented. So whatever decision you make, it's always, you know, what would the tourists want? What do our staff want? Because they are also our clients. How is this going to improve our products in our country? So you have all of these questions which one would not only just want to ask, but want to give a very good service and a very good experience. So the service industries of tourism and also culture. Yesterday, I'm mentioning culture here. Yesterday, I was speaking to the undergraduates, and they were sending me messages on chat. Oh, we don't like culture, we don't like history. But then, when I mentioned that parties, for example, events, conferences, and so on. That is also part of culture. Culture is not just going to a boring museum. It isn't. So if you're going to go scuba diving, it's culture. You're going to go bungee jumping, it's culture. You're going to go off-roading, it's culture. So they are linked. And if you don't have culture on your offer, then you're not going to have a good touristic product. So what we know is that for sure is that industry creates the opportunities for employability. They want people who are strategists. In fact, I'm speaking from experience because from being a social scientist, I also did my MBA in strategy. And whatever you learn, you will use it everywhere. You may decide after 10 years you don't want to see tourism anymore, but you get a lot of transferable skills. So what you learn for marketing for tourism, what you learn for strategy, what you learn how to run your business, you can use it in the future for yourself to start off your business, not necessarily in tourism, but in other places. So there is what we know as skill transferability. Now, then if you want to go further, once you have these master programs, then you can go on to your MPhil and your PhD. And you can work in academia if that is what you want, or not. That's up to you. But sky's the limit what you can do. So this is the link to the program of studies. for the other masters, for the MBA. Just to conclude, just in case, just to make you aware, we have two other master's programs. They are not through FEMA. Obviously, this presentation is being hosted by the FEMA faculty and their students. But just in case you wish to know about two others, at the Institute for Tourism, Travel and Culture, we have a Master of Arts in Tourism and Culture, and we also have a Master of Arts in International Hospitality and Tourism Experience Management. They are both part-time, meaning that they are in the evening, 3 times a week, 5 semesters, the same as the MBA. The difference between these, especially this, the MA International Hospitality, TM, Tourism Experience Management, differs from the MBA because the MBA has a number of study units that are very much business oriented. But for the MBA, you need the 3 years experience, work experience. Whilst if you read for the MA in we call it IHTEM, you don't need the 3 years experience. So you have a number of options over here. So we'll take the Q&As now. If you want to contact us, you have any inquiries, here you have the phone number for FEMA, which is Faculty of Economics, Management and Accountancy. Or if you want more specific queries about the tourism programs, then you would also need to phone ITTC. So it's always um@um.edu.mt, but here for FEMA, FEMA @ and here it's ITTC @ bear in mind that the applications close on the 22nd July. Sometimes there is an extension, but when there is an extension, there is the late fee. But if you're intent on applying, apply now, obviously, so you've got your application in through the door and you don't have to pay the fee. Now, you may say, what can I do if my results aren't out? You apply provisionally, and then, even now, before the 22nd, and then if your results are out by the 22nd, you update your application with the new results. If it isn't, if the results come out afterwards, then you will update them accordingly afterwards. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much. And I will stop the screen sharing now so that I can take some questions and answers. So if you wish, if you have any queries, you can unmute. No questions? Okay, don't worry if maybe you don't wish to ask questions because maybe even some things may be confidential because as you know we are recording this, so that's okay. If you want to send us your queries, please use the email addresses we gave you, which you can find on the site, or else even direct to the university to admissions. If you are unsure, you know whom to contact. You can still go to admissions. You send the email there, and then they will pass it on to us. Okay. Okay. I don't think we have any questions. Yes,
that we can close off. Thank you, Dr. Avellino, for
you're welcome.
For your time and accepting our invitation and presenting this presentation. It was really informative, and actually I think that given that most of the students are from FEMA, it does give a bit of exposure more into the tourism studies, obviously, since we are more focused on the business side.
It's still business though, but it's a bit more narrowed, narrowed down. It's more service oriented. That's the main difference, And for Malta, tourism is very important, as you know, in obviously. Okay, but if you have any queries, feel free to send them to us and we'll do our best to reply. And also, thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you, Yasmin, and thanks
Thank
to
you.
everybody. Bye-bye.
So good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining us. Our last session today is with respect to the accountancy masters. The presentation will be presented by Professor Baldacchino, who is the HOD of the accountancy department. If you have any questions along the way, you can always unmute yourselves or send your messages into the chat box, and we will then be able to guide you accordingly. Professor Baldacchino, you can.
Okay. Yes, Elena, first of all, good evening. Sorry for bringing you late, but I had another appointment which I couldn't miss. Really, rather than a presentation, because you're used to presentations, I would to be a frank talk and answer any questions you might want to put. So be ready to ask questions, whatever you need to ask. I have a brochure here, but I think you've seen it earlier. The brochure, it's like updating, there is. Okay, just a bit of a background on the department. This department has been going on about 40 years now. Okay, and I was lucky or unlucky enough, I don't know, to be the youngest of the first people involved. So I am the last of the generation. In fact, I entered to study in 1983. What I can say, I'm telling you this because the department has been going on from strength to strength all over the 40 years now. And I'm sure all employers are happy with the department, with the degree. And not only that, but they prefer it to all the others. And in fact, it is the main one. It is the main one, which is recognized in law. I can talk to you from the head of the cap of head of department, but I am also involved a lot representing the university as part of the accountancy board. In fact, I chair the accountancy board. I've chaired it for a number of years, but I've been there for many years as well. So I can tell you as well from a practical side what employers think, and also what you can do to gain experience as well if you ask if we can go there. But first, let me give you an overview of what happens now. I believe you are in the third year of the BCom. Once you get enough averages to move on, which is normally 65% of the subjects, of the core subject, I don't believe year one is included. Then you can move on to 2 years, which is purely based on accountancy. Accountancy, you've already had a taste of it, now a real taste of it through the BCom. But I can say that the BCom is mostly descriptive and informative, while the masters, you should find it more interesting because it's more discussing type, discursive type, sharing with others, teams, and presentations. But there will be exams as well, but not everything will be based on exams. Around about 75% or 70% will be exams, but there will always be at least 30%, some subjects more, which is based on presentations and on teamwork. Once you're moving from the BCom to the honors, you start thinking about dissertation as well. I've seen also great progress in dissertations over the years. I was the first lecturer to do a dissertation, sorry, a master's purely on by dissertation, and also a PhD by publication. So really, it shows that I'm a lot interested in research. In reality, we have about 9 full-timers who are both teachers and researchers, and even those who are some of them do research as well. We are about 8 or 9, really 9 at the moment. full-timers, all involved in different specialities of the areas of the accountancy, and we are backed up by about 50 part-timers, mostly professional people coming from audit firms. And in many subjects, you'll find a practitioner and an academic. The academic very often leads, but the practitioner is also very important. Okay, for example, in auditing, I am the academic in the master's course, but then we have two practitioners, one from RSM Malta, Mikhail Levkoni, and one Michelle Spiteri-Bailey from KPMG. But together we do one of the biggest study unit. I think it has 15 credits in year 4. Just keep in mind that the master's is not there just to get you the warrant. It gives you more than the warrant. Okay, because we make sure that you know a lot about Malta as well, because you'll be working most of you in Malta, although many can go to other places. And we also teach the international aspects like international taxation, international aspects of finance. They're also taught there, which some of them are not really required for the warrant. So really, you have a plus when you go for employment. This, besides what you've been doing, out of 3 years, at BCom at least 1.5 years have been doing other subjects as well. So the employers will find you very interesting, especially if, say, you apply, say, to a bank and you've done the BCom element of banking besides accounting. So if they want an accountant and you've done banking, surely you win over very often your competitors by having done banking as well, because they know that you're also not a specialist, but you know very well banking as well, besides being just an accountant, but an accountant with a banking twist, And since we are part of FEMA, we're the biggest, by far the biggest department of FEMA, about half of FEMA. We use a lot the other departments. We refer a lot rather than use a lot to the other departments to have these specializations at BCom level, and you can add on to them at the master's level by having a dissertation related to the area. If you are really interested in insurance accounting, you do a dissertation very often in insurance accounting if you can, So really that makes you more of a specialist. And also we have in the masters, we have 2 subjects which teach you more research methodology. It starts off when you go there straight away. And there's in the second semester one where all the main lecturers come to teach you about methodology, their subject. That to help you for your dissertation, which you need to give a proposal after the first semester. And there are also a number of electives. We already mentioned some of them with international twists, like international taxation and international accounting, but there are also financial instruments, particularly for those who are quantitative minded and mathematically minded, financial reporting for small entities, which has grown a lot over the years because that was done before by a UK professor, and we learned the system, and now we're doing it Maltese lecturers, but we have a foreigner doing something else. I've just talked to him today. That's in year 5, which is forensic accounting. That's becoming very important about fraud, AML, and so on. In fact, it's one of the subjects which will very quickly. One of the options, electives. There's also public sector accounting for those who are interested in the public sector. So you see, even in the masters, you have subjects as a particular subject, electives, which makes you different from the others for most of the others. Okay. Very often it fills up to 25 seat, 25 persons. There's a maximum of 25 persons for each subject. And up to now, this year, we've been doing the subjects online, like all the others. I think if the COVID reduction trend goes on, probably we only leave the forensic accounting online because that's a foreign professor. We don't know, but we might leave it online. I don't know yet. This year it's going to be that online, but you'll have it in year 5, that one. Just why I can tell you the big chunk of people who qualify, who are eligible to move on to the masters, they go to the masters because of these advantages I'm mentioning. You don't have the minimum exams to get your one in, but you have a number of subjects around them, which makes you much more wanted by employers very often, and also for your own personality as well. It helps as well. Besides, of course, that the emphasis, as I told, is not purely on exams. There are lots of chances for you to learn very deeply the subjects that we lecture. If you can describe accounting, which by now you're starting to learn what it's all about, because very often up to A level, it's only financial accounting and management accounting, but at BCom level, you've already been exposed to the 5 main areas. Now, mostly we're talking about financial accounting or reporting, a very main area, which you have both years. I mean, it's 1.5 years of teaching. The last 6 months will be purely on dissertation. But in all the 6 months, all the 1.5 years, sorry, you have on financial accounting and reporting. Financial management, which I happen to teach in the second semester of year 4 and first semester of year 5, one of the finance, financial management as well. Then there's management accounting, which is also in year 4 and 5, management accounting. Taxation, which is very important, and it's taught in year 4. In year, yes, it's year 4. Sorry, yes, it's purely part of year 4 and year 5. And because we change sometimes the semesters. And there is also commercial law and company law. You've already done that, but now what we're after very often on bankruptcies and advanced aspects of company law as well. So we have again what we call legal subjects. It's just one subject, and it's taught directly by the Faculty of Law. That's mostly what it's all about. The masters. Importantly, you start thinking about dissertations early on. You won't ask you to give your write-up and application for dissertation until in practice until March. So the semester ends, and then after the semester ends, you'll be presenting your application for write-up as well to persuade the board that you can do dissertation. Throughout the first semester, you have all the help of all the lecturers, okay, to seek a good title. And besides that, very often you'll have to give the head of department as well an idea when you have chosen your topic, so that the department will see that there will be no 2 people seeking the same topic before they come to apply. So really, when you are decided about the topic, you should tell the department that you have decided, or not decided, but you are most probably going to do that one, okay? So that you will avoid trouble later, because we used to have some trouble in the past when 3 or 4 people apply to the same subject. But not subject, same topic, really, because in the subject there could be many, many topics. That's about dissertation. You shouldn't be afraid of a dissertation. Dissertations have come to a very high level now, but we are well equipped to help you with dissertations. We, in fact, for example, my dissertations I supervised in the past 2 years, except the ones we're just finishing now, not just 2 years, the past 5 years, I think almost all of them have been published. And not in the nature of a dissertation, the nature of a paper being extracted out of them. We do help you a lot in this because as academics, we are interested in new subjects and in new development, and there are so many areas. But in the first semester, we'll be helping you to choose the subject. Okay. I think as an introduction, that's what I wanted to talk mostly about. I would like to hear you to see what questions you might or problems you might have. Whereas before that, I would like to advise you, now do whatever you want. We do not want to market the department because we don't need to, as you will know. We have a bit too many, not too many, but so many people doing this. It's one of the most popular degrees in the university. At the moment, finishing off, there are 90. It which fluctuates, the number fluctuates from 80 to 100 every year. So another 80 to 90 people are coming in from year 4 to year 5. And this year we don't know. There's no specific number who passes. All those who do the grade at 65% average, they will make it to go on. So that's why the numbers fluctuate. There's no definite number ranked about who gets in the masters or not. It's an open course for everybody who make the mark. But if you want to ask any questions, I can answer you whatever you want, or something that perhaps I was not clear about. If you want to ask anything, I think I tried to refer to most of the issues involved. Usually people ask about them. Just remember that accounting is a key to many, many careers, not just one career, to many, many jobs, other careers. You could still call them, most of them, accounting careers. Many people jump from accounting to management as well. My life, I've participated mostly in auditing, internal auditing, not external mostly, and in financial management. In fact, at the moment, I'm still involved with the central bank in internal auditing. I'm the chair of the audit committee, just to give you the variety of work you could do. And in financial management, I am involved with cooperatives very often, with financial management, and I'm involved as well in advice at the university itself. I'm director's advisor and even of the previous director in finance, financial matters as well. And I've been a financial director in a number of places in Go. At the moment, I'm director as well at the central bank itself. And I'm also director of all the companies of the university, or most of the companies, those who form part of the university group, mostly on the financial side. I'm the site director. But besides auditing and finance, I'm also very highly interested in corporate governance, and lots of publications in corporate governance. If you want to see publications of academics, go search in Google Scholar. Very often, a good chunk of them are there. You put, for example, Google Scholar, Peter Baldacchino, you'd find them, or whoever the academic is, you'd find them. And you'd find also papers in LinkedIn, or at least reference to where you can find them, and in ResearchGate, the most popular networks which show you what academics are doing. I would advise you to choose, if you're going to choose a dissertation later on, just to start from there. Look at the area you like most. Perhaps you have a hobby, say you have a hobby doing that has to do with say water polo. So you could do it, say the financial aspects of water polo clubs, for example. Could amalgamate a hobby with an area you like. Just to give you an idea. But you could look at the dissertations, they are there on the internet as well, in the department, on the website of the university. If you look at the department, there are all the dissertations that have been done, something over 2,400 now. I remember the first ones that were made. But the more recent ones are very important. It's important to know you cannot do a dissertation where the subject has been exhausted in the past 5 years, very often exhausted. So okay, look at recent dissertations to get ideas, but try to look at the end of the dissertations where they recommend new titles. Each good dissertation recommends very often 3 or 4 new titles. So look at them, okay? You know the tutor who has done or supervised dissertations. You don't know the mark, but the tutor will be available because very often in the first pages they thank the tutor. So very often you know as well who the tutor is as well. The thing is this you need to know. If you decide to go, as normally people do, move on to the masters in accounting, and you have the other area which you like as well, you could always come back and do the other area at master's level later on. So you could do a master in accountancy and later on do the master in economics. The good side about the other areas, most of the other are that they are part-time. So you could do them part-time as well, have 2 masters if you really want to. While the accountancy, there's so many things to do that we left them full-time. Okay? Just to tell you, most people at masters do it. I think for this year, up to now, I haven't seen any failures. Some people drop out of at the end of the BCom. In fact, around about 3/4 of the people move on to the masters, okay, because they are eligible. The others sometimes are not eligible, okay. The percentage who pass on to the masters around 3/4 to 2/3, 75% to 67%. Another thing as well, you could ask anything you want from the secretaries, and if need be, write to me as well. They will give you my email, not a problem there. We would prefer when you write your email, write under your name, not through the university system. Because when you write through the university system, very often there's no way we can answer you, directly. But if you use your own email, we can answer you. I try to answer all emails, okay? As you will understand, I'm very busy as well, particularly with the other occupation of at university, lecturer's advisor. But as head of department, there are lots of things to do as well. And there are 2 secretaries which can help you if you want to the ASCS, I send them an updated version of the brochure which you might have received earlier on in the course, but if you want that, they can give it to you as well, and there are hard copies at the department as well, okay? The lecturers, as I said, they specialize in different things, okay? We have many more people specializing in financial accounting, but then have people in public sector accounting and management. When it's very specialized, they have a PhD in it, okay? Management accounting, taxation as well. We are the only place in Malta to have specialization in taxation as well, PhD in taxation. auditing, corporate governance, financial management, financial auditing as well. So we have a specialist in each area. Okay. I think I've given you enough of an overview. I usually try to have the time allotted to questions and to presentation. But if you haven't understood anything or want some type of clarification, please feel free to ask me. I'm here to ask. I'm here to answer any questions you might
Sir,
want. Yes?
for the masters, to graduate from the masters, is it the same thing as for BCom? For example, BCom needs 65% and over, as you said. Do we need the
No,
same?
no. It's masters, but not all masters, not just ours. You have to have an average of 50%.
An average of 50%, that's the only requirement.
Mind you, in masters, in BCom, you should still graduate with 65%, but you will be eligible to go in that area. You know?
No,
The
exactly.
BCom, the 65% is for the eligibility. We're
Yes,
meeting
yes.
soon, for example, to see who of you are eligible as soon as the results are ready. You know? The 65% is to decide. I mean, if you have two streams, so you have accounting, say, and economics. You've got 65% in economics, but not in accounting. You can only move on in economics, not in accounting. But the degree, the graduation, you get it as well. You still graduate in BCom, even though you must not have got 65%. You know,
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
graduate in accounting, because some of the others, I think now almost all the others are masters. But I think, I'm not so sure about economics, but you physically graduate. You know, some of the others, you don't physically graduate. With accounting, you still graduate and you need to move on. If you have the
Yes.
65%, you're allowed to move on.
Exactly. So assuming that I get the 65% and graduate and everything, for the to graduate from the masters, you only need to pass every single subject. Then I'm assuming, and
You only need to,
you only need to get the 50% average.
ultimately, yes.
Okay.
Any masters, you have to give an average of 50%. But even you get a subject 45% and the average is 50, you get it.
Yes.
The only
Yes.
problem is with the dissertation, not problem, the only restriction. You have to have a 50% dissertation. But I can tell you, nobody has ever failed the dissertation, is because we are very, very careful about the dissertation. Each supervisor is very careful. And if you're not up to scratch, we tell you to submit later. Sometimes it happens because people are sick, for example, or something happened to them. But it's not good to submit it later and get the permission of the board to submit it later, because you graduate the following year then. I've had an example last year, one student out of, I think, 95, decided to because she had but it had to do with a physical problem, not because of a question of not having moved on out in the dissertation. There was some problems at the end and she couldn't finish off in the last 3 weeks. You know? Another thing I want to advise you as well, once I have the chance to talk to you, do not, I underline, do not emphasize on your work while you're doing your masters. This is unlike the bachelors. The more you emphasize on your dissertation, the more the chance you have to get a very good master's, because masters are also graded, okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so 1, 2, and 3. What was the equivalent of 1, okay, excellence, what is the equivalent of upper, and what is the equivalent of lower, okay? And then there's only a fail, there are only 3 besides a fail. And of course, all the employers want the first in class very often. Besides that, we have a prize for every dissertation area, about 14 dissertation areas. We have a prize for them. It's a prize given by the Malta School of Accountants, another given by the National Audit Office, and audit firms. All the audit firms give prizes. The audit firms, the big ones, and there's also a prize. It's 600 euros plus a certificate. I mean, the more important is the certificate. And there is also one by cooperatives as well. as well. Any other question? I hope I answered your question. If you have other thing, please ask me. Any other question you want to ask, perhaps? Come on. I don't even see who's asking, so don't you worry. Ask whatever you want. I want to tell you a bit once, or perhaps until somebody asks something. I will tell you about the practical side of things as well. At BCO, at doing the masters, I told you don't go and work full time, for example. It's not in your interest, especially from the second semester onwards. Some people think the second semester of the second year, while they're doing the dissertation, they go to work, and they are miserably mistaken, because there's so much work to do for dissertation to finish it off. And you very often you need to go still to go full time. I'm not saying not working at all, but working in summer, working as a job, not more than 5 hours, perhaps a week, because you're allowed up to 20. But especially in the second semester, the subjects start becoming more tough, the second semester of the fourth year. And if you ignore lectures, I've just corrected the year 4, second semester. And some people who probably were not attending all the lectures, they find big difficulties in the exam. We help you a lot in the exams, but you must attend the lectures, definitely. You know, and don't let work hinder you. You have all the chance to work all your life. Just for the sake of the warrant, you need 3 years of experience in the warrant. I can tell you that because I am the education chair. I chair the education subcommittee of the Accountancy Board as well. We've been doing one yesterday. Now, you need 3 years. You can do one of them before, or up to one, and say up to 2, theoretically, before graduating. But in reality, you can only do very often 1.5 years, up to 1.5 years. From year 3 onwards, in summer, the summer, say 4 months in summer, if you do the year 2 up to year 3, year 3 to year 4, and year 4 to year 5, you have 1 year gain. Most people gain 1 year of the experience before graduating, and you still have 2 years after. Even doing ACCA, it's no use working before, because you have a rule, which is coming from European Union, that you need at least 1 year of the experience to be gained after graduating. Okay. Now, graduation means having passed the results of the examination. Even where you work, it's important to work, possibly not normally, not necessarily first mind, but if you work in industry, sometimes it is very pleasant to work in industry as well. At least try to work where there's someone who's qualified accountant, because later on you will have to vouch for you that you've done enough experience in accounting. Okay, some people find problems because they go to other places where there is not even the auditor to vouch for him. So there would be a problem. They get stuck with that sort of problem. Okay, but just care for the experience. I think if you gain 1 year, that should be enough, as long as it is relevant. Because if you go earlier on in the course, I think some of you know what I'm talking about, and try to gain experience, sometimes they don't give you right experience. In fact, the board had to decide that whatever type of experience one gains, it's only from year 3 onwards, the summer of year 2, year 3 onwards, that one gives the relevance. That is, allows it as part of the 3-year experience you need, besides the master in accountancy, to get the warrant. The warrant is the CPA. Now, another thing as well, if you work during the year in auditing, there is the certified public accountant warrant, which is the most important. There's only one warrant in accountancy. But then you can specialize in auditing. And if you specialize in auditing, not everybody needs to specialize in auditing. If you're in industry, you don't need that. But if you specialize in auditing, you need 3 years of experience, 2 of which must be purely in auditing. So even if you're working straight on in auditing earlier on, you might gain, the shortest cut to the certificate in auditing, to do one, to both of them, is to work in auditing and see that you're working in auditing earlier on, so that you don't need to spend 2 years after graduating in auditing as such to get your PCA. You'll get your CPA, but not your PCA. PCA means practicing certificate in auditing. If you want to go there, because people not necessarily go there. If you look at the careers, you could work as an advisor in finance. You could work as an internal auditor. You could work as an external auditor. You could work in management, because many people move from accounting to management. You're also coached in risk, increasingly being coached in risk. You could work as an advisor in taxation. There are so many different careers. I don't think I mentioned them. I really mentioned them all. Of course, there's also, you could go in academics as well if you're good, find yourself good in academics as well. You could work in the public sector with a good degree, master's degree, and especially also a BCom in the public sector could help you. It could help you. It will help you a lot. There are so many different jobs in financial accounting. It's not just certified public account or chief financial officer. You could work as a treasurer as well. I hope I mentioned jobs enough. Just half an hour before I started, somebody phoned me, how could you find me somebody I need to employ, In fact, this had to do with funds. But there's always more people, more demand for accountants than there is supply. Part of it is because people who qualify in accounting, they can work in Europe as well. If you have the PCA, you can work anywhere in Europe, which is not the same as the ACCA, yeah? Definitely, because especially with Brexit, that's not the situation. Not just the ACCA, the foreign exams, the ICAW and the GMA, you're not automatically an auditor in other places. The only thing they might ask you is either to have some experience first, a few months of experience normally, or otherwise sit like we do in Malta. We ask them to sit for Maltese tax and Maltese laws. I think that is helpful knowing what happens in practice. But if you want to ask anything else, please ask. Now is the opportunity for you to ask anything. I won't be teaching you in the first semester. I'll be teaching you in the second one. I don't think perhaps one small lecture. I don't know. Anything you want to ask? Anything else, please? Something you wanted to ask? There were a few questions ago. I trust there are more questions you want to ask. It's up to you. Okay. I spent 3/4 of an hour talking. I hope I didn't make you dizzy. Okay. But I welcome you. I hope all of you make it to the masters. Okay. And I'm sure you won't regret it having done the subject. I just met last week somebody whom I taught first. It's such a long time ago. I think the first class I taught was in 1983. You are not born, I'm sure. And she's still going in accounting, and she's still very grateful for the things you taught her at university. So I really enjoy when I hear some alumni talking about his past experience. I would advise you as well to join, before leaving, I would advise you to try to join some of the cultural activities, because one of the good sides of being full-time is to have some time, hopefully going back. I hope in October we'll go back to normal lectures, So have time to go, not just go to the canteen, but to join more in the social activities, not that you don't have the chance. By being on campus, more on campus, makes it more attractive to work, to do social activities. Okay. Otherwise, I wish you the best. Any questions, please launch them to me or to my secretaries. Okay. And I'm ready to help whenever there are any questions, any problems. Okay. I don't know whether the probably the organizer want to ask to tell you something as well.
Thank you, Professor Baldacchino, for the session, for joining us, and thank you all for joining and attending this meeting.
It was a joy for me. I like to be students and I like to explain things. All right. So it was a joy.
Thank you. Just a small remark, tomorrow we will be having our industry talk as well, so that you will be able to further understand what careers may lay ahead of your studies. And if you wish to clarify anything further, you may always contact us either on Facebook or privately, as you wish.
I wish to thank the ASCS not only for the opportunity, but for the work you're doing. Yeah? You're doing a fantastic job. Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate.
Okay. Ciao alaikum.
Bye. Good evening.
Bye.
Good evening.